So right now in the world, 1 in 10 people are going hungry. 1 in 10 people are going hungry on the face of the planet. Poverty and disparity, marginalization, pain, suffering is really huge for a huge portion of people on the face of the planet. Billions of people are suffering, and we try to not think about it. Some of us are some of those people going hungry, and then some of us are trying not to be too concerned about it lest we slip into being one of them. I keep seeing a lot of people who are trying so hard to get ahead because they desperately don't want to fall behind. They don't want to become one of the people who are going hungry. There's a way around homelessness. These things definitely can be impacted, but unfortunately we don't have systems in place to effectively mitigate it. One of the things that's truly egregious is we don't have systems in place for taxing multi-billionaires. Multi-billionaires are very few people. There's only a few thousand of them, and they are so astronomically rich that they are richer than whole countries. Just them as a person. Their assets are almost not taxed, and they are ridiculously above the same kind of suffering that so many people in the world are going through. There's the top 10 richest people in the world, and even if those people lost 99% of their current wealth, they would still be amongst the richest people in the world. They would still be richer than 90% of the human population on the face of the planet, even if tomorrow they gave up 99% of their current wealth. That's how rich they are. We don't have systems in place for getting that money to be less accumulated, less consolidated into one tiny little group of people and not spread out amongst the other 90% of the world that really needs help. 60% of the world is desperately in need of help. There's a real tragedy in the way that our systems currently work, because money funnels up and it doesn't come back down. There's no taxation almost at all, and the tax rates are such small percentages compared to the tax rates going on for the poor. There's a lot of corruption. There's some countries that just don't tax assets at all or inheritances at all. There's huge disparities, and the disparities don't really have avenues to be addressed in most countries. And that lack of addressing that creates agonizing suffering. 1 in 10 people on the face of the planet is hungry. There's no reason for that. It's not necessary at all. There's an obsession with profitability and with making bigger numbers bigger and bigger and bigger. And I genuinely believe that any system, no matter what it is, any grouping, any business, any function, whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is, it should be judged on its weakest place and not on its strongest place. If you go back to the old adage of a chain is as strong as its weakest link, we really have dropped the ball with finances, because the weakest links are people who are starving to death, people who have no roof over their head, people who are choosing to die and risk their lives, let alone their longevity, because they can't afford the medical bill. The ridiculousness of saying that we have free markets and that we have, financial success and that Wall Street's doing well is just mind-blowing to me. That we focus so much on the economy and how well the economy is doing, as if that is indicative at all of how well humans are doing. People are not doing well, even when the economy is, because the economy serves very few people, and it exploits the majority of people. The majority of people are suffering. 1 in 10 people are going hungry, but it's a much higher number than that of people who don't have a livable wage. It's a much higher number than that just of people who are in poverty. If you look at 99% of the world, they're so much poorer than that 1% that even the people who are wealthy seem like babies in comparison. Let's stop focusing on the biggest numbers and start focusing on the smallest ones. The people who live on, mere dollars a day or even a month. I am not one of those people. And I still feel like those are the people who should be focused on. At least I have a roof over my head. At least I have food in my belly. That's more than a lot of people in the world can say. We need the money that comes to the richest people and funnels upward to go back down to the bottom. And maybe as it rises back up to the top again, people who are in the middle can get a couple of the dollars. That'd be nice. But in actuality, the most destitute and the most desperate are the ones who need that the most. It is absolutely atrocious that anyone on the face of the planet is hungry, because we have plenty of food and there's a ridiculous amount of money in existence. It's just being hoarded by a few thousand people.